Alright, ladies and gentlemen, and I guess a couple of you wrestling fans out there today, welcome back to Music Village. And you know, folks, we almost forgot to mention Sci-Fi really did finally put out a Polar Vortex movie where it involves polar bears inside of a tornado. I think they called it Polar Storm or something like that. Either way, real good movie, and also no cameos just yet from Bruce Campbell. Not even in the Sharknado series that's now, 5 or 6 movies deep? With, I do believe, the second girl named April who has a lightsaber arm and is half cyborg now. Yes, folks, the Sharknado series has finally went there. Next thing you know, the tornado is gonna have a lightsaber of its own. They're gonna have a giant sky fight. Let me stop giving them ideas, because now it's time, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time this year and this decade, for us to review a pay-per-view, the match card for none other than the 33 3rd annual Royal Rumble from the Minute Maid Park in Houston. The stars at night shine big and bright, bum 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 bum, deep in the heart of Texas. Ah, man, I love Texas. Never been, but after that song, I love Texas. And with the opening song of Texas, recited, at least the first part, the first match to take place on this set card would be none other than Daniel Bryan going one-on-one against The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, in a strap match for the Universal Studios of Orlando, Florida's championship. And I'm going by the order that the match card said for this week, because had it been otherwise, I got a feeling it would have been the Royal Rumble match, but I digress. Because the only reason this match is taking place is because Daniel Bryan, after winning a triple threat match to decide who in the world was going to go on to fight against The Fiend at the Royal Rumble, and after everything Daniel Bryan's been through with his hair being ripped out, beard being ripped out, and tortured mentally and physically by The Fiend, Daniel Bryan decided to go back all the way to, I guess, 2009, where the Yes Movement first started, and I could be wrong with that year, folks, and would decide to actually take it to The Fiend, even with the help of Kane last week on Friday Night SmackDown. And after that whole little recourse, folks, who do we think is going to win this match? Well, since it's a strap match, and since The Fiend doesn't feel any form of pain, as much as I would love to see Daniel Bryan win the championship and carry it all the way to the grand stage WrestleMania, I got a feeling The Fiend's gonna go home with the win. And the only reason I say that, folks, is because, after the last couple of matches I seen this thing fight, it felt like he was like Jason Voorhees, Sweet Tooth, and I guess Michael Myers all wrapped into one wrestler that is nearly unstoppable. And I got a feeling that's going to come into effect during this strap match at the Royal Rumble and ultimately cost Daniel Bryan. Maybe he'll get another shot at Fastlane. Who knows? Either way, I got a feeling after this match is over, it's going to be far from over. And the next match, speaking of personal rivalries, folks, would feature Becky Lynch going one-on-one against Asuka for the Women's Championship of Monday Night Raw. And the only reason this match is taking place is because Becky Lynch, with her giant oversized Kill Bill-like list of people she wanted to snatch the head off of and get a revenge for, would wind all the way down to none other than Asuka, the person who started this whole movement in the first place. In reality, it's Charlotte Flair, but after last year's Royal Rumble, where the man really started to make her debut, Asuka was there to cause the tears to flow from the eye of one Becky Lynch, and she wanted revenge ever since that very day. And along the way, besides winning 2 belts at WrestleMania and making history at every single pay-per-view she would be featured at, always in the rearview mirror would be Asuka laughing and taunting at her ever since then. So, who do I think after all of that is gonna win this match? Well, since Becky Lynch is a woman on a mission, I got a feeling Becky is gonna pull out the win. Even though Kairi Sane is gonna be at ringside for all of this, I got a feeling Becky Lynch has nothing to lose and is gonna go through everything in her will and power to try to defeat the Empress of Tomorrow and finally get rid of that dark cloud that's been hanging over her head for well over a year. And speaking of dark clouds hanging over people's heads, the next match to take place on this said pay-per-view will feature King Corbin going one-on-one against Roman Reigns in a Falls Count Anywhere match. And the only reason this match is happening is because, well, King Corbin still feels like he runs the locker room on SmackDown, and Roman Reigns thinks otherwise. And not to mention, after Roman Reigns has been embarrassed for the past 3 to 4 months, he's really looking for revenge and looking to end this once and for all, hopefully without getting dog food poured on his head again, or with Dolph Ziggler coming from out of nowhere with a super kick, or a steel chair being thrown in his face. So, who do I think is gonna win with all of that said? Man, I'm gonna have to give it to King Corbin. And the only reason I say that, folks, is because I got a feeling you're gonna see people like the Revival, the security guards who carried him down to the ring like King Midas, and even Dolph Ziggler popping up from out of nowhere, all trying to help King Corbin put Roman Reigns in his place. Unless you would see the Usos or somebody on the side of Roman Reigns trying to help him out during the match, yeah, really giving it to King Corbin going home with the win during this match. And the next match to take place on this said pay-per-view would feature none other than Shorty G, better known as Chad Gable, going one-on-one against the returning Celtic Warrior himself, Sheamus. And the only reason this match is taking place because almost the same way when he returned last time, he would bro kick somebody in the face trying to prove that he's a real tough guy and bring the heart back to the land that he first started on, and would plant his flag in the ground. And Shorty G saying that, hey, I'm gonna fight back during all of this, and decided to take out Sheamus backstage and anger the Celtic Warrior for this match to take place. And after a whole, 7 months after Sheamus has been out of the ring, this will be his first official match. So who do I think is gonna win after all of this? I got a feeling I'm gonna have to give this to Sheamus, because there's gonna be a lot of anger and a lot of pent-up rage in him to try to beat Shorty G in this match, unless Shorty G can weather the storm of all that's gonna happen to him during this match. Yeah, I'm giving it to none other than Sheamus, because I got a feeling it's gonna be like The Undertaker versus Mark Henry at Unforgiven that one year, where Undertaker came back and just lit him up like a Christmas tree in the corner to try to prove a point. But hey, it could always go the other way around, folks. And the next match to take place on this set card for the Women's Championship would feature Bayley going one-on-one against Lacey Evans. And the only reason this match is taking place is after Lacey Evans would try to stand up for herself, and Sasha Banks and Bayley just trying to knock her down and also call her a bad mother at the same time, which is the last thing you want to do to somebody who is from a military background and really does care about their kids. It would lead to not only backstage fights, but women's rights and lefts being thrown at a moment's notice by Lacey Evans every single time she could get her hands on not only Bayley, but Sasha Banks. And after all of that, who do I think is going to win this match? Well, unless Sasha Banks is at ringside for the said championship, or Bailey decides to pull off any Kurt Angle chicaneries like he used to do back in the day when he had the WWF Championship, I'm giving it to Lacey Evans. Cause it's a long time coming that this girl should have some form of gold or blue and white strap around her waist since she's gotten here. And not to mention she's really improved since she's first got here, and I would really love to see her win the championship, even though I got a feeling Bailey is going to do something so underhanded that it's going to cost Lacey Evans to take her eye off the ball and for her to lose this match. But hey, anything can happen. And the next match to take place during this said pay-per-view is none other than El Idolo, Andrade Cien Almas, going one-on-one against Humberto Carrillo in a one-on-one match for the United States Championship. And the only reason this match is taking place because what felt like 2 months ago, Humberto Carrillo would get DDT'd Hammerlock style on concrete after almost winning a gauntlet match, only for him to get taken out of the United States Championship picture and for Andrade to swoop in, take the title from Rey Mysterio, and win his opportunity to become champion, only for Humberto Carrillo to come back after a nasty ladder match on Monday Night Raw last week to come back for revenge, but be passive at the same time. And with that recap out of the way, folks, who do I think is going to win this match? Well, unless Humberto Carrillo can get that killer instinct instead of sitting back from 2 referees telling him to stop beating the crap out of Andrade, I got a feeling Andrade's gonna end up winning this match. And not to mention the added factor of one Zelina Vega at ringside is definitely gonna be a real big factor to decide who's gonna win this championship match. So yeah, definitely gonna give it to none other than Andrade Cien Almas, thanks to Zelina Vega. Cause she is gonna do something slick, and unless this leads into a steel cage match in the near future between these two, that's exactly what's gonna happen. Andrade for the win. And the next match to take place on this set card would be the 3rd annual Women's Royal Rumble match for the chance to fight for the Women's Championship of their choosing at this year's swashbuckling WrestleMania known as WrestleMania 36. And with rumors floating around like crazy that Paige might be in it, and I know for a fact that Katie Catanzaro is going to be in it, probably one of the most agile wrestlers who was in NXT and still is in NXT as we speak according to the Maestro. Who do I think is going to end up winning this Women's Royal Rumble? Well, I'm gonna have to agree with Paige what she said on the WWE Backstage report that they had on Fox, and would have to say Kairi Sane. And I don't see anybody else. Originally, I was gonna pick Ember Moon, but she's still injured, which breaks my heart because I got a feeling if she was involved in this, she would win. But with the Maestro also reminding me that Charlotte Flair is in this, and with Charlotte being in everything WrestleMania possible, I got a feeling unless Sarah Logan stops her at the start, I got a feeling that it's going to be down between either Kairi Sane or Charlotte Flair to win the Women's Royal Rumble for this year. Either way you look at it, I got a feeling there's going to be a lot of surprises and a lot of people coming back from yesteryear for this said Rumble. And one person I should say, that I hope to see at it would be none other than Victoria. Because, they are in Texas, even though Victoria is from Chicago. I would really like to see the return of Victoria, neither that or Mickie James, wherever in the world she went, or even Ruby Riott make a return during this said Rumble. But, like we said before, anything could happen. And the last match that I got a feeling that will be featured at the Royal Rumble for this year is none other than the traditional Royal Rumble match. A match that's been going on for 33 years, that has been fought about for championship gold with not only Ric Flair and Roman Reigns in separate years, but has decided who's going to go and punch their ticket immediately to the grand stage of them all of WrestleMania. And I don't know why in the world I'm pointing up at the calendar thinking that's a WrestleMania sign, but yeah, that's what the Royal Rumble does to people, folks. And with all the competitors that are in the Royal Rumble, and with Kofi Kingston and John Morrison in the same Rumble for the first time in well over 10 years, maybe more, who do I think is going to win this match? And like I said for the past couple of weeks, and I'm gonna say it again, Drew McIntyre. The only other person I think is going to win the Men's Royal Rumble for this year, and a lot of people are saying Randy Orton, Roman Reigns, another person said Braun Strowman, but I'm really going to give it to Drew McIntyre, the Scottish Terminator, to win the Royal Rumble for this year and finally become the chosen one he was made to be those many years ago, and to kick the head right off of Brock Lesnar on the grandest stage of them all. That's the one person I'm hoping to see the win this year. I don't see anybody else on the field for this year's Royal Rumble getting that title or that shot than him, unless Kofi Kingston can magically swoop in from the rafters with one of those camera boom arms like we've been saying for the past couple of years, or, John Morrison decides to crowd surf his way back in after almost getting eliminated. That's the only option here. None other than Drew McIntyre winning the Rumble. And before you say anything, Maestro, about Brock Lesnar being at number one and being the third superstar or possibly the fourth superstar in history to win at the number one spot, no, I still think it's going to be none other than Drew McIntyre. And the only reason I say that, folks, is because neither Dio Madden or Matt Riddle, who has a personal grudge against the Beast, is going to be the ones to try to take him out during this Royal Rumble. Granted, I got a feeling Brock Lesnar is going to tear through at least half or a quarter of the Royal Rumble participants, but he will be stopped in the Royal Rumble match, because I can only imagine the horror if Brock Lesnar wins and unifies the Universal Studios of Orlando, Florida's championship along with the WWE championship on the grandest stage of them all. I do not want to see that happen, and I'm hoping that 29 other competitors can get the job done to make sure that it doesn't. And one name on the top of that list still is Drew McIntyre to get that done too. But anything could happen at the Royal Rumble, folks, especially with the fact that it's taking place in another baseball stadium for the second time in the history of the Royal Rumble. So, with all of those predictions made that may be spoilers, like Paul Heyman would say, we say this: good luck, don't get hurt, guys and gals, and put on one hell of a show that none of us will ever, and I do mean ever, forget. And before we wrap things up, we almost forgot to mention, if Randy Orton wins this year, he will tie Stone Cold Steve Austin's record for being the only man to win 3 Royal Rumbles. Granted, he won't win it back to back to back, but still, very impressive. And with that said, folks, I think it's time for us to go grab a glass of water, and when we return, we'll be back with more Music Village celebration of a homecoming right after this. So don't get lost in traffic just yet, folks, and stay tuned.